What's up guys, I'm Josh and I lift things. I'm here to do the supplement tier list. If you go to the tier maker website, people have made a lot of these. I decided to make my own. I have a wide variety of products and let's just get right into it. Now these are not all the ones that you see on screen. There will be more. As you can see, I got a good selection here of general health supplements or actual weightlifting supplements or just everything under the sun. Zinc is awesome. People talk about its potential rise of testosterone and tons of other little benefits. It really only seems to excel if you're actually deficient. It's really not all that hard to get from a proper diet in the first place. So for that reason, I'm going to give it an A. It's something that I personally take, but it's not life-changing. Now, ashwagandha. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, this is getting a fat F for me. The raisin test you get from ashwagandha is just so little, it's not even worth considering when you realize how it works. It's just by messing with your cortisol levels. So many teenagers are taking this because they need to blunt their emotions or something or other. Dude, if you need to blunt your emotions, go to therapy. Don't take some random fucking pill. Cortisol is used so much throughout the body for tons of very important processes, and we have no idea what just blunting that for the long term actually does. It's ruined some people's libido, it's had tons of issues, so take whatever great benefit you hear about it with a grain of salt. Okay, whey protein. This is pretty obviously just like an A, right? People ask all the time, do I need a protein powder? No. The reason you would use it is for the cost, for the flavor, and for the convenience. It's pretty cheap, it tastes pretty good, and it's pretty easy. You can get more than enough protein just from your diet that you don't have to worry about this, so that's an option. There is an argument that it's a higher quality protein source because of its high leucine content, which is used for muscle protein synthesis, but we're kind of getting a little bit deep into the weeds there. I'm just going to put it at A. Now, C4. This isn't just C4, this is just pre-workout in general. You see, this one's hard because a really good pre-workout has a lot of these things combined, and a really bad pre-workout has a lot of these things combined, just in worse dosages. Not to mention, you could just use some coffee, honey, and salt, and that's a pretty good pre-workout. So I will put pre-workout B, not C4. C4 is F, but pre-workout in general, I'll give it a B. Yeah, B's fair. B's fair. A pre-workout is often going to have a couple things: stimulants, pump ingredients, nootropics, electrolytes. You don't even really need the electrolytes. Maybe they'll have some other things like antioxidants or other shit that's not supposed to be in there, but that's what you'll normally see. Yeah, pre-workouts can get a solid B for me. Multi. I'm not going to give it an F, but I am going to give it a C. Most multis have a lot of stuff that you don't need much of, and too little of stuff you do need a lot of. They often don't take into consideration the fact that some of these things fight for bioavailability. So, for instance, like when you take too much zinc, you may not be getting enough copper, or sometimes if you take too much calcium, you won't be getting enough of something else. It's just important to remember. I'd much rather you supplement individually with the stuff you actually need once you track your foods for a while and see what you're actually deficient in. At best, waste of money. At worst, maybe harmful. Okay, CLA, or conjugated linoleic acid. This is a type of fatty acid which, just like other types of fatty acids, can supposedly help with fat mobilization, a couple of other things. The only issue is that the evidence is kind of lacking for it. It's really cool. It kind of seems to be somewhat unfounded. The results that are there are kind of lackluster. A lot of them are contradictory. I'm going to give this a C because at the least it won't potentially fucking hurt you like ashwagandha. I'll make a full video on ashwagandha. It is such a terrible fucking thing. Alright, Agmatine, or Agmatine sulfate. This is kind of a weird one to throw in, but some people recommend it a whole lot on the supplements Reddit, or it's often a lot of pre-workouts. Agmatine is essentially an NO precursor, which means it can help give you a better pump in the gym, and it also has the weird benefit that it may help kind of blunt pain receptors. It's used for like alcoholics and people going through like cocaine abuse. It's a really interesting compound. I don't know where to put it. I don't think someone should probably just be taking Agmatine by itself. I mean, I guess you could if you're making your own pre-workout. You know, I will give it a C. There's better pump ingredients, and the pain receptor thing is kind of freaky to me. I mean, I don't know if it's actively harmful for you. I don't think that, but I think that pain is kind of a good thing. You're going to be seeing a whole lot of C's from me, by the way. I'm not very, I don't really love a lot of these. L-glutamine, and a conditionally essential amino acid. It means it's not an essential amino acid, but it does mean that if you're like dying or something, it's an essential amino acid in layman's terms, at least. So L-glutamine, it's often taken is like a workout supplement for reasons I really don't know why, but it actually really shines for like gut permeability. If you have IBS or something, this can be very useful. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to help out people with Crohn's, which is what I suffer with. but it's actually a pretty good like health support. So I'm going to put that one into B. Okay, super B complex. Here's my issue with B complexes. If you eat any amount of meat, which the majority of the United States adults at least do, which is like who's watching my content, you get enough B vitamins. You get more than enough. If you are vegan, this could be helpful. I'm unsure of the bioavailability of pill form, or if something counteracts it or what. I don't know if injectable B12 is going to be all that much better. For me, this would be a fat like I'll never waste my time with it, but I will throw it into C because there's a large part of the population that just needs their B vitamins. Like there's nothing I can do about that. If you eat any amount of protein throughout a day though, you are probably okay on B vitamins. Maltodextrin powder. Now this one is interesting. This is kind of a stand-in for any like carb powder, whether it's like fructose or glucose. Now all those things are obviously different, but this is gonna be a stand-in for carb powders in general. I'm going to put these up at the same place as protein powder, to be honest. I think they serve the same function, if a little bit less important. Obviously, the anabolic window is kind of a fucking joke. You don't have to get your protein shake within 5 minutes of your first squat set, otherwise you go catabolic. That's just not true. But being able to get your carbs in, especially for like a pre-workout shake, is awesome. This could probably, maltodextrin is more of a complex carbohydrate, but this could like represent like honey and everything else too. So yeah, I'm gonna put this in A. It would be better served if most people use this over like, or proper pre-workout meal over their fucking C4 pre-workout anyway. So yeah, I stand by that. Beta-alanine. I should make a tier for fucking taint itch. This is going in F. F tier, awful. I hate it. I despise it. People get mad at me sometimes when I talk about it. Not everyone experiences a terrible fucking asshole itch, but a lot of people do. Or your feet will itch super bad. You have to take your shoes off to scratch them, or you feel all hot and itchy, or your skin gets a little red. It's one of the best examples of marketing tricking fucking idiots. You need 179 grams to build up in your body for it to have any performance enhancing effect. And those performance enhancing effects only come into play on sets lasting longer than 1 minute. So that would be some type of like circuit training or endurance work, right? Most people do not do that. And you need to take it roughly in like 6.4 grams a day to build up to that 179 grams within like a month. So when people take their 2 grams of it in their pre-workout, which they only take 3 times a week, they are never ever getting any performance enhancement from it. They are just getting itchy. It is a waste of money. It is thrown in there to trick people that the pre-workout is working because they feel fucking tingly. When in reality, if you can't feel 200 plus milligrams of caffeine, you need to fucking cycle off stims, for the love of God. And spoiler, 2 Fs in a row, testosterone boosters right down here. You want to know what boosts testosterone? Good sleep, good diet, good training, feeling confident in yourself. If I could bottle that and sell it to you, believe me, I fucking would, but you can't. So instead, people are selling fucking Tonkat, Fedosia agrestis, you know, horny goat, normally some combination of zinc and ashwagandha, or boron, which, tell me, did you know what fucking boron was before you looked at the back of this label? I understand that it's something very basic you will learn about in fucking chemistry class, but seriously, have you? I virtually guarantee you haven't. Do you have any idea of why it raises testosterone? It has to do with messing with SHBG. Do you know what that is or why you want to mess with it? No, stop taking this fucking stuff. Stop taking this random herb from Pakistan that supposedly was used tens of thousands of years ago. Bro, they didn't brush their teeth tens of thousands of years ago. They didn't have soap, my guy. Stop putting this shit in your body and just live a better life. Most of these people go eat these test boosters with never even getting their test checked in the first place. They wouldn't be able to tell you the difference of their blood work if they had high or low tests. They have no idea. Stop taking these things. Useless, terrible, like, I'm not saying your dick's gonna fall off. It might, I'm not saying it won't, but you're gonna have problems. Just don't do it. Okay, so moving on. Betaine anhydrous, also known as trimethylglycine. This essentially is useful in some pre-workouts, some of the better ones at least, is being an osmolyte, kind of similar to creatine, meaning they help control water in and outside of cells. And it also acts as a methyl donor. Now, if you don't know what like the methylation process is or anything, there are basically things that your body has to do that require methylation, and they need methyl donors in order to do these things. If you do not have them, it places a big stress upon your body. Creatine can be a methyl donor. I think L-carnitine is a methyl donor. There are specifically some types of genetic shortcomings or mutations that people have to where they require more support in methylation than others do. It is a general health supplement that you could just take. Like, people think creatine only has so many effects physically, like water retention, which we're still not even all that sure about, or just some strength gains, but it's way more important than that. It's a cognitive enhancer, as I said, supports methylation, can reduce concussion risk, and all this other stuff. Betaine anhydrous is also kind of similar in that vein as a general health supplement. It's not just something that you need for a sick pump in your pre-workout. So I would have put this kind of where I put these guys, to where if you have something to where you need it, you can use it. Maybe that means L-glutamine should go down here, actually. Or maybe that's what B should be in general. I'm rethinking now. Okay, so here's what we're doing now. The B column is if you have a reason, like medically, that you have to use something, this could be useful here. This is if you want it, go for it, but most of them are shitty, but some are still helpful. These are never fucking talk to me again. You're a fucking bozo. And these are just good products that actually like do what they're supposed to. Like, everyone can take them virtually. Be careful with zinc and copper, as I said. Okay, moving on. L-citrulline. L-citrulline is probably the most potent nitrous oxide precursor in the entire body. Now, I don't want to spoil too much because there's some other things on the list that have to do with nitrous oxide. It's the best. The reason is that it basically can avoid being broken down by your body, because it does get broken down, but not at a place where it cancels everything out. And it is extremely potent. I believe that 10 grams of it, or 10,000 milligrams, is the maximum efficacious dose that you can take. There are very few pre-workouts which even get close to that number. But the pumps are fucking ridiculous. It is an awesome product. It does what it's supposed to do. There's multiple types of nitrous oxide precursors and ways to boost nitrous oxide, some of which are not all that great for you in the long run, can lead to increased inflammation, which is not something you really want when you're talking about your cardiovascular system. Heart attacks are not cool. So I'm going to put L-cit. Yeah, like I said, A is just going to be good products that do what they're supposed to do, not even ones that I necessarily take anymore. No-dose. Now, if you guys don't know what no-dose is, they are the pre-workouts of champions. I believe Rocky Balboa used to boof these before each fight. So no-dose are just a caffeine pill. They are 200 milligrams of caffeine. The reason I prefer these over than something like coffee is if you have some stomach issues, the acidity of coffee can maybe be a problem. Or even the time of having to make it and drink it, whatever. Some people just aren't all that into it. So people think, okay, well, I could just get a caffeinated powder, right? Well, that's a one-way ticket to the fucking casket. There have been a lot of people who have accidentally used the wrong scoop or used too much or not realized what they were doing and then took a massive amount of fucking caffeine. It is very unsafe to have in powderized form. I don't even know if they sell that in most stores anymore because of all the bad press it's gotten. No-dose, on the other hand, are just one pill. It's 200 milligrams caffeine, which is a fucking solid amount. They are so cheap. You can buy a 2-pack of 200 capsules each for $10 or something. They will last you fucking forever. They are amazing. They are what I take most of the time. Now, my general word of warning with stimulants are, if using them for a workout, especially if you use every day, try to cycle off them every 6 weeks for 1 to 2 weeks. That way you'll get all the excitatory effects back and everything else. No dose, so caffeine, S tier. Absolute S tier. One of the best performance enhancers of all time. Completely legal, completely safe. It's a weird way to put it because you can fucking die. But don't take too many and you'll be fine. It increases performance physically, increases mental sharpness and speed and focus and everything. Perfect. One of the very few S's that we'll be seeing today. Fat burners. They are trash. Let me explain what a fat burner is. A legal fat burner is going to be a whole lot of stimulants that try to raise your heart rate. And this way, then when you are just sitting at rest, you will burn more calories. Your BMR is based partially off of how much your heart is beating, how much blood you are pumping. So if you increase heart rate, you are now burning more calories just sitting there. It's also easy to raise up to your target heart rate during cardio. Now, this isn't all that bad, but at the end of the day, it's just fucking stimulants. You're spending a whole lot of money on yohimbine or raucine or all these different ones. If this was like a ECA stack, which has at least protection on certain things, that mainly being the aspirin, which a lot of people have now replaced for fish oil. But regardless, if this was like an ECA stack, that'd be different. That'd probably go up in like the C or maybe even B category. Just straight fat burner where they normally put a lot of random shit in there. Maybe they'll throw in raspberry ketones. Do you know what the fuck those are? I didn't till like a month ago. And it turns out there isn't that great of support for them. And when they are in a product, they're often heavily underdosed. So they put in all this random stuff that you just hope will work. At the end of the day, stick to a calorie deficit. It's kind of similar to the test boosters. Like, it's just sus. Don't take them. Maybe some are better, but just in general, they can pretty much be defined as a hard F. L-carnitine. Now, this one is a rough one. If we're talking about pill L-carnitine, I'd probably put it in F. If we were talking about injectable L-carnitine, probably A or B. So I think to average it out, we'll put it right there at C. I'm going to be talking pretty much about injectable L-carnitine for the rest of this, but it doesn't really matter. So L-carnitine, when taken orally, you need like 4 to 5 grams of it to reach the effects that you would when you injected like 400 or 500 milligrams of it. And this amount, the 4,000 milligrams, has been shown to be potentially cancer-causing in rats. I believe for increasing TMAO, which is kind of similar to the method of how they think that red meat can cause cancer in people, or how it does cause cancer in rats. So it's kind of debatable on what it does as far as the cancer pathology goes, but it's still not that great. What it can increase is like fatty acid mobilization, which is sick, and it can do a couple of other things. If you're actively deficient in it, it can be great. But then again, you probably shouldn't be deficient in it because it's in quite a bit of food that you can get quite easily. So I'm going to put this in at C, but it's fine. Okay, turmeric, curcumin, turmeric, turmeric, whatever. So curcumin is it's actually like one of like 3, I think, compounds that are useful in turmeric, or however the fuck you want to say it. If you would have asked me about a month ago, I probably would have said that this is like way up here in A or B, at least in terms of mitigating inflammation and having a lot of useful health markers. But it's also one of those things to where those, I can never pronounce it, Ayurvedic? Ayurvedic? Someone in the comments can probably tell me. The ancient Indian like herbs and supplements. It turns out, I was reading a pretty big post on this, I'll leave it linked in the description as well, that these guys are little tricksters. For some reason, they tend to show up in your urine. So when people have done studies to see how much someone's taking to see the effects that it has, it shows up in your urine in massive amounts. So they assume that it was actually doing something, but it's causing like false red flags. And that most turmeric, I don't know if it's in general or just the stuff that's being sold, actually isn't having that big of an effect on people. So it could have just been placebo this whole time or something else. So until we get to the bottom of that, because it's still not that understood, I'm going to put it in C. If I never read that or knew that, it'd probably be A or B. It's a great just daily medication. It can cause some stomach issues for people. And if you don't know, if you're buying just straight curcumin, you're probably messing up. You typically want some type of bioperine, which is a black pepper extract. It increases the bioavailability by like 1,000-fold. It's actually absurd. If you're taking one that doesn't have that, it's not just maybe not doing nothing, it's doing nothing. So keep that in mind. Psyllium husk powder. This is just going to go into a straight B. It's a awesome fiber supplement. If you have a high blood pressure, it could be useful. It's very good for people that have issues with their stool in general, depending on, I guess, what their issues are. I tried it when I was going through my big Crohn's flare up, and it hurt incredibly bad. Still, even while I'm healthy, I can't have that much fiber. I know everyone says you want at least like, is it like 40 grams per day is like the RDA? But I just cannot do it. Something like this would just kill me. It would run right through me. It would be very painful. For most people, it's pretty useful. So I would put something like a fiber powder just right there. Again, B is the, if you have medical condition, use it. This is potentially useful. Should they be switched? Nah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, moving on to Casein. I've never known how to pronounce this properly, to be honest. I've never heard it said by like an authority. I've always heard it said multiple ways by multiple people, but basically slow digesting protein. The reason is it kind of makes like little like balls or knots within your stomach, so then it's like a slow trickle of amino acids. It can be useful for some people. I don't see the hype in it. I would never spend the money on it. Some people try to, you know, drink a shake before bed, that way they don't go catabolic while they sleep. That's like literally not how it works. I would not be concerned with that ever, especially if you're not like the top like 0.001% elite athlete. I think people spending money on this are a little bit silly, but if you have the money, I mean, more power to you, my friend. It's definitely on an F. I would put this at a C tier. I think that is the way to go. So D3 plus K2. This is, if not S tier, an absolute A tier. So most people do not get enough D3, even when they live in places that don't have winter. If you live in a place with winter, it's very hard to get enough sun in general. And then K2 or MK7 is a great addition to it. It basically helps in taking the calcium away from soft tissue, which is where it can build up, hence why they're often paired together. This is a great supplement, very cheap. The only thing I would say is be cautious taking it at night. It can cause insomnia for some people, and the biggest issue is too many people just take D3, I guess me included, without having their blood actually tested to see how much vitamin D they have. You really don't want to go over, and there is a massive difference between people, like one of the biggest differences between most people, where there's people that have literally taken 50,000 IUs of D3 to stay in reference range, and then some people take 2,000 and end up way over. It's absurd. I take 5,000 daily. That's just me. At some point I'm going to get my blood checked, and if I'm under, I'll increase that amount, at least maybe every other day or for a while. Then I'll get tested again. When I find an amount that keeps me in reference range, that's what I will take. So I don't want to recommend any dosages because everyone will be different. But 2,000 to 5,000, probably a decent starting point. I'm going to put that in A tier. Fish oil. This is another A tier. I'm sure you guys know enough about fish oil. The essential fatty acids, EFA. There is EPA and there is DHA. And those are what you really have to worry about. The standard American diet is like a 16:1 omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. If everything goes to plan, you would hopefully have like closer to a 1:1. Even like a 4:1 is a massive benefit to overall health. It's something that you really should do. The only issue with fish oil is there's a lot of low quality brands, and a lot of them can go rancid, which can potentially be even worse for you. So it's important how you store it. I don't believe in the big hype around like krill oil or anything like that. Just get a high quality omega-3, do whatever you can. ZMA is yeah, fuck ZMA. So zinc is great. We've been over it. Magnesium, great. We've been over it. Well, I guess we haven't yet. Magnesium's great. The thing is, there are a billion different forms of it, and we don't know that much. What we know is that like glycinate, biglycinate, threonate, and piconate all seem to have the best bioavailability. L-threonate may have the best chance of crossing the blood-brain barrier. Threonate is the only one that has shown like actual cognitive enhancement in people that aren't just straight deficient in magnesium in the first place. A lot of them will include like magnesium citrate, which is basically shit your pants 24/7. I do not recommend taking, just like the multivitamin, we'll move it up here. Just like the multivitamin, I don't like combining a bunch of random shit together when you could just pick which one you actually want. And by the way, the A is vitamin B6 normally. I don't know why it's A for ZMA, but it is. Again, B vitamins probably are not going to be all that necessary here, unless maybe they help with the bioavailability of zinc or magnesium. I'm not sure. A lot of people take it for weird dreams. Keep in mind, magnesium can cause insomnia for some people. So you're going to have to figure it out if you feel better taking it early on in the day or later in the day. I personally take my magnesium earlier in the day with food. I try not to eat too close to bed anyways, just for my gut. So it kind of depends on what you want to do here, but I don't like it. I don't like it. Salt. S tier. Unironically. Salt is one of the best things you can take for a pre-workout. Salt is Super important for health. People talk about, oh, don't eat too much salt because it'll raise your blood pressure. That is true if you're not getting your other electrolytes or enough hydration in the first place. Salt is awesome. Get about 3 to 5 grams of it every single day. If you're in ketosis, way more than that. If you work and sweat all the time, you need more than that. Salt is amazing. I take 500 milligrams pre-workout and post-workout. I literally just take some Redmond salt and pop it right on the tongue and swallow it. It's not that bad. Deal with it. It is awesome. But plot twist, this is not salt. This is new salt. This is a potassium-based salt alternative. Now, finding potassium supplements can be kind of hard because, one, you can die. You can overdose on potassium. It can cause like a heart attack or some shit. 2, it can burn a hole in your stomach, which is not very cool. So a lot of supplement places can only sell pills up to 900 or up to 99 milligrams. They can't go over 100. You can buy powders in bulk that can give you more. You can buy new salt, which is just a salt-based alternative. It literally looks and tastes pretty much like salt. I put it on all my food as well as salt my food. It is a great way to get potassium in, especially when you're in a caloric deficit. It can be kind of hard to get potassium in if you don't like a lot of like leafy greens or if they upset your stomach like they do me. So I can't have too many potatoes on a deficit. Can't have too much spinach because I can't handle leafy fibrous vegetables. So for me, something like this is great. You want about 4,700 milligrams of potassium every single day. And again, you want more if you're sweating a lot. You want more if you're in ketosis. New salt is one of the best and cheapest ways to get more potassium in. I highly recommend it. Now, L-arginine. F tier, gross, useless, and virtually every single pre-workout does fucking nothing. So this is why I didn't want to spoil with L-citrulline. L-arginine is broken down by the body. It has very little effect on actual NO levels. So L-arginine does fuck all. L-citrulline actually gets broken down in L-arginine, but later on in the body's processes to where L-arginine can actually travel throughout the body. Taking L-arginine by itself does nothing. It is fucking stupid. I do not like it. People have known this for forever too, but it still gets fucking popped into every pre-workout. Probably to save money. Creatine, S tier. We know this. I talked about it earlier. It's a osmolyte. It is a Krebs cycle intermediary. It is awesome for concussion prevention, cognitive enhancement, acts as a methylation buffer, does all of this intense stuff in the body. You can watch my video on creatine if you want. It's linked up in the top right hand corner right now where I explain everything in depth. It is very good for you. It's in red meat, so you're probably already eating a little bit. You could probably use to supplement it directly. Some people can get away with 3 grams a day. Some people can get away with up to 10 grams a day if you have very high methylation demands. The average person needs about 5 grams of creatine monohydrate every single day. It is awesome. It is perfect. I have taken it for like 8+ years now. It's fantastic. What is this? S tier. S for steroids. Now, are steroids a supplement? Debatable. I think you would have a hard time if you were trying to make an argument about what is a supplement and what isn't, because there are things that you can inject that are similar to steroids that you would, if you say like, well, they're PEDs, well, okay, a lot of these things are performance enhancing. And then if you want to go by just like USADA's rule set or the World Anti-Doping rule set, well, that's weird because like if you did that 2 years ago, stuff like FD steroids or testosterone wouldn't be on the list, which are not on this list because they're fucking stupid. But you get my point. Believe it or not, steroids work. A lot of people are on them. They're kind of cool. I mean, like, it sucks. Like, they're pretty cool. You know, yeah, steroids are S tier. That's a fact. Best BCAAs. Fucking useless, dude. Best my ass. BCAAs are the branch chain amino acids. There are 3 of these bad boys: leucine, isoleucine, and valine, or valine, or valine. I don't know how to pronounce it. Leucine is great. Leucine is one of the prime signalers of muscle protein synthesis, but again, if you are eating enough in general, you are just getting them just fine. The other 2 are less important, but they are, in fact, BCAAs, but that doesn't really mean anything. If you are training fasted, perhaps something like this could be useful, but there's something I recommend much more than these if you're training fasted. These do not seem to do anything. If you are deficient in these, it's because you are not eating any amounts of protein. So maybe you need them, but like 99% of people will be able to get this without supplementing it. So I would not ever use this ever. I would never waste my money on it. If I see a pre-workout or another supplement that just throws these in there, it's a waste of fucking time, and I know that they're just trying to scam you. Mass gainers. F tier. Sorry, all you 13-year-olds who think you need to put on that much weight. Pro tip, if you need to gain that much weight and you want it in shake form, you could make a shake and then fill it up with pounds and pounds of sugar, because that's all these fucking mass gainers are. Sometimes we'll throw creatine in. That's fine. I don't recommend drinking one of these every single day, and you need to take your creatine every single day. There'll be 2,000 calories with 80 grams of protein. Well, each gram of protein has 4 calories. So 80 times 4, 80, 160, 240, 320. 320 calories from protein out of 2,000 total calories means there's 1,700 calories of what? Of fucking sugar. That is it, dude. If you like literally can't eat because you have some type of mental holdback, or I don't know how to say this politely, or some type of condition where you just can't eat enough food, then I guess go for it. But these are fucking terrible, and there's better and cheaper and healthier ways to get your calories, and you can make your own mass gainer shake at home for very cheap, assuming you have a blender, or you can make them without a blender too, to be honest. Just mix the fuck out of it. These are stupid. I am not a fan. EAAs. EAAs are what I was referring to earlier when I said that BCAAs are not the best if you're going to be training fasted. EAAs are actually decent. I'm going to put those right up there at the B tier. So I'm going to make a full video breaking this down at some point in time, but basically there are 20 proteinogenic amino acids. This means that they are amino acids that actually come together to form proteins. For instance, creatine is a non-proteinogenic amino acid. There are 20 regular proteinogenic amino acids. When someone says amino acids, they typically are referring to proteinogenic ones. If you look into it, you will see different numbers. Sometimes you'll see like 21, sometimes you'll see 19, sometimes you'll see that there is 10 essentials or 9 non-essentials, or just some different numbers, because a lot of ones have been discovered over time since we have originally defined the terms, right? So of the 20 proteinogenic amino acids, 11 are non-essential and 9 are essential. Non-essential essentially means that your body produces enough of it by itself that you don't really have to worry about getting extra in through diet or supplementation. 9 essential amino acids are what your body cannot produce enough of, so it needs through diet or supplementation. Of the 9 amino acids that are essential, the branch chain amino acids are included. So leucine, isoleucine, and valine. So then you get 6 more for taking EAAs, and it's just better all around in the first place. There's also some of the conditionally essential amino acids, like I said earlier, with glutamine, to where during times of great illness or stress, they all of a sudden are not able to be produced in enough quantities to be able to work for you. So EAAs, okay. BCAAs, bad. That's all you need to know. And finally, we have magnesium straight by itself. This is going also into the S tier. Magnesium is very hard to get. As I mentioned earlier with the ZMA, there are a lot of different forms of it, and you kind of want to mess around to find the exact one. It's still kind of up in the air as to what one is the best. I don't know if there really is a best. I'm going to be doing a video where I break down all the different types of innates that you've heard for magnesium, all the pegylated forms and whatever the fuck. It's very confusing, and the science is very contradictory, but hopefully we can kind of suss something out. Again, like I said, glycinate, biglycinate, threonate, piconate, those are probably the ones that you want to be focusing on if you're going to be purchasing one of these. Keep in mind any of them can cause GI distress in people. They can cause insomnia for some people. Some people will feel worse when they take it. Track your foods. If you're not getting at least 400 milligrams a day of magnesium through your food, start to supplement. And another important thing to remember is if you're taking 400 milligrams of magnesium threonate, figure out how much elemental magnesium that actually is. How much magnesium is in said magnesium threonate. If it's half and half and it's a 400 milligram pill, well, you're only getting 200 milligrams in. So keep that in mind when trying to figure out what dosages to take for what your RDA is and what you're trying to reach, if that makes sense. Now, thankfully, with this little half screen view, I was still able to fit all this in here. So let's do one last overview. It's turned out to be pretty decent, I think. Pretty even across the board, to be honest, which I'm surprised about. All right, S tier, caffeine, potassium, creatine, steroids, and magnesium. I think most people would agree with something like that. A tier is going to be your zinc, your whey protein, your carb powders, L-citrulline, D3K2 plus fish oil. Feel weird having L-citrulline here next to all these classics now, actually. Fuck, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to go. I don't care. B is your things that you should take if you have a certain condition or certain things that need to be addressed. I'm going to go with L-glutamine, Agmatine, Super B complex, Betaine anhydrous, Psyllium husk or any fiber powder, and EAAs. C is going to be your pre-packaged pre-workout for the most part. Like 99% of them are shit. Same thing with a multivitamin. Your CLA, which is interesting but doesn't have enough research. L-carnitine, specifically the pill kind. Turmeric curcumin, especially when it doesn't have some type of black pepper extract or without more research. Casein, Casein, Casein is just a weird waste of money in my opinion. I don't really see the use of it. ZMA, again, when you mix a whole lot of things together to prepackage it often sucks. F tier, ashwagandha. The test boost is very fucking little, if there is any at all. And just go to a fucking therapist, you weirdo. Beta-alanine. Maybe have the weirdo on ashwagandha, since he's so numb, lick your asshole to get rid of the fucking itch. All right, go fuck yourself. Testosterone booster and fat burner. Honestly, the marketing alone on these motherfuckers is just awful enough to put in an F tier. They probably don't work and they're probably hurtful. So just don't. If you can't tell me the mechanisms at play, why would you take it? L-arginine, just useless. When taken how you take it. If you could somehow get it directly flowing, that would be better, but you can't. Best BCAAs, completely worthless unless you're training fasted, and even if you are training fasted, there is a better solution in the EAAs. And then serious mass gainer, just fucking go eat a bunch of sugar, dude. Go boof an entire bag of fucking confectionery. Is that what powdered sugar is called? It's confectionery, right? Yeah, confectionery. Yeah, okay. Go boof some confectionery. Hopefully people agree with this. You know, I don't actually care. I don't give a shit. Guys, that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you liked my ranting and raving. Hopefully I didn't annoy you too bad. If some of these are your favorite products and they got a C or an F tier, leave me a comment. Let me know why I'm a fucking idiot. It actually really helps out the channel. If you made it this far, you should probably like and subscribe. Also really helps out the channel and you'll know whenever I put out new content. If you like this style of content, you can follow all of these socials and join my Discord where I post exercise content twice a day, every day. You can find the links to all of that in the description. If you have any more ideas, please let me know. DM me, comment, Discord, whatever you got to do. If you leave me a good recommendation and I make a video out of it, you'll get a shout out at the end. So that's maybe worth it. You'll be seen by tens of people. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.